Welcome to Central Indiana Region, Porsche Club of America uh, at Sebring Short Circuit. And we watch as the cars get lined up on the grid. I think it's probably best to watch from the back of the grid as we go into turn one here. As we wait, it's notable
I've
that...
gone around the full circuit, but not the
And someone just jumped the start there. And we're off. Everybody expected this to be a rolling start, so hard to say what's going to happen here. Oh, looks like Rusty dive bombed. I don't know if that was Rusty. I'll have to check. I think maybe we need to watch that replay. And we're on board with Rusty coming into one. Very late. Oh, the front, he just had no grip. Well, that sent the rest of the field running off. And back up front, it appears to be myself, Keith Morgan, as Ben Lowe tries to put a pass on Gary Rice. Wow, that is an aggressive place to attempt to make a pass. Oh, we see somebody lose it there. I think now the best place to be might be on board with Ben.
So I got a black flag. I'm pitting.
Is he close enough to make it? Ooh, going to try around the outside. Looked like Gary might have let him by. So now he's chasing me.
My headset went out. There's a big screen in front of me. I got to figure out how to get off of it.
Oh, so what happened to Rusty, for everybody listening, a big screen appeared in the middle of his VR system, totally obscuring his view of the track, which would explain why he missed that brake marker, that's for sure. So we're on board with Ben Lowe chasing me. Watching Gary Rice try and catch the pack there. Looks like most of the action's up front right now. Let's have a look deeper in the field. It looks like James Legault and David Trinder are in the pits for repairs. Lonry Surumi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is currently circulating in 6th place. And Sean Marks is in 7th. My understanding is that Sean had a near catastrophic real-world steering wheel failure. And he is driving this course with, say, less than optimal steering might be a bit of an understatement. He's having to take some pretty wild lines, and frankly, I'm surprised he's able to lap the circuit at all. Back up front, the tight racing continues between 1st and 2nd. 3rd not far behind, and that's Gary Rice in 3rd place, Ben Lowe in 2nd, and yours truly running up front. Looks like Ben's going to try an outside line. I moved over to block. Was worried he was going to get the over-under there on me. Very close racing indeed. Let's go on board with Ben. This course is not particularly tight, but the fast line is definitely very tight. You can see Ben is giving me no quarter up here. This is a very tough corner to get the right line through. And the curbing here at Sebring is pretty vicious. You can see my car bouncing over it, see Ben's car bouncing over it. Really upsets the suspension. You can also see me driving very defensive lines. That's for a reason. Ben is probably faster than I. See if he goes for it down into the turn here. You outbraked me. It's a really clean pass. And opening a little gap on me. You can see the top three are really close as far as lap times go. Pretty tight. Not a lot of commentary here, just good racing. As Ben continues to pull out a little bit of a gap over me, and with me pulling a little gap over third place. But the lap times here among these top three cars and really everyone else in the field are within a second. There's just not much between any of us here. Yeah, from that camera angle, it looked like I was going for a pass. I absolutely was not into that braking zone. I try not to dive bomb people, and that would have been quite the dive bomb. Let's go on board with me and see if I can reel Ben in. Used way too much curb there. You could see that that gave Ben at least 2/10 out of that corner. You can see the lap traffic there ahead of Ben, but you can also see that the leaders here, we are not reeling that lap traffic in. Everyone out here is just too close on lap times. Still chasing Ben, doesn't look like I'm reeling him in. Seems to be pulling away slowly. And this is the closest racing on track right now. As I blow that turn, a little wide on exit, and hand bend another couple of tenths. Ooh, really wide. Ben went really wide. That looked to me like about a quarter of a second mistake. Allowed me to pull him in. Well, at least I thought I was pulling him in. And now he's a speck on the horizon. I did just check, this is still the closest racing on track. does appear that I'm reeling Ben in just a little bit here now. I don't know if that's a tire deg issue or what. We'll see down this big straight how tiny of a speck he becomes. Ben went really wide on that exit. It's an easy mistake to make in that turn. I don't know if it's about the exit out of the previous turn, but it seemed like getting consistent on the brake markers there was near impossible. You'd hit the brakes at the same spot and you'd dive deeper or shallower on every lap. Didn't seem to be much rhyme or reason to it. Like a little mistake from Ben allowed me to reel in about another quarter of a second here. Only hitting about 135 before these, well, 140 before these brake markers. This is a very flowing track. A lot of these turns are just flat out the whole time until they're not. When they're not, they're really not. Ben coming up on lap traffic here, I was certainly wondering how that might spoil his lead. I'm not helping myself getting that much wheel spin on corner exit. And Ben gets a very clean pass, and so do I. Thank you, polite iRacers. Oh, I'm disappointed. I intended to send a thank you to that driver, and it just sounded like radio static. And Ben goes off track. That is a lot of time. And it looks like he has dropped 2 positions as a result of that off. He is now behind Gary Rice. And we have Sean Marks and his severely broken steering wheel between myself and second and third place here. Let's go on board with Gary Rice and see how he handles the pass. Sean again being very polite, and honestly I really don't know how he's keeping that car on the racetrack. Let's switch over to Ben's car now. Ben has made it past Sean and appears to be very aggressively chasing Gary. He's got some track position to make up after that off. Big use of the curbs. That's a gamble on this track, that is for sure. Very slow exit there by Gary. Ben may have a run on him.
Go on with your left. Ben, I'm just holding you.
And Ben gets a point by. Let's switch to...
Or I can't catch you, but you can.
Yeah, just checking the radio traffic there. Watching Gary chase Ben, and again, it's important to note that, you know, all of these drivers in the field were very close lap times in practice and qualifying. And as tends to happen in iRacing, sometimes turn one just kind of ends your race through no fault of your own. Really no fault of anybody in this particular case. I mean, what can you do when your windscreen is suddenly covered by, you know, a giant advertisement or whatever popped up on Rusty's screen? The cars are pretty spread out on track right now. Right now, the battle between Gary and Ben is, I think, the closest on track. I don't think Ben's closed up on me enough yet. And Ben goes off in the same turn as before. And that gives Gary quite a bit of breathing space in second there. Well, maybe not as much as I thought. There's Ben back in screen already. This is, however, allowing me to check out a bit at the front. You can see I've got the length of the back straight. And we go on board with Ben to see if he can reel in Gary. Not sure what he's been doing wrong, and I think it's this turn here, which in this configuration of the track would probably be turn one. Very late on the brakes. That's, yeah. I think that's probably it. So that makes it 3 times in that particular corner. And that has definitely allowed Gary to check out. Now it's notable that absent from today's race, as we go to the front, that missing from the race is Steve Prudent, who last week at Okayama, Japan, pretty much put on an iRacing driving clinic. I'm pretty sure that he was a full second a lap faster than everyone in the field last week. And Sean pulls off. I don't know if his steering issues became too severe or what happened there. Go on board with the leader here. Now I can tell you that my thought process as I'm driving here, I could see on the relative screen that the car in front of me was a lap down, at least one, and Gary is the car behind me, and I had reasonable breathing room to him. And my thought was, I will catch this lap traffic and pass it. So it turns out, not so much. We're now on board with James Legaunt, and I can tell you that his lap times were really similar to mine and everyone else on the field, and I was completely unable to reel him in and put him a lap down. I thought for sure I could. I believe James is circulating in 5th place here. Let me check on that. Yes, 5th place. You can really see the similarities of lines for all the drivers when you ride on board with them. Watch the braking into this turn here. Yep, all right about that 400 mark with the 4 cones. Good exit over the curb. Keep it in tight, no reason to go wide here. Plenty of run out in this turn. Brake just past the, ooh, yeah, he's braking at about 3.5. That's a little later than I did, but he kept it running through that turn and set up for the next one just fine. Wow, yeah, a little wide there. Yeah, it's notable that him and Ben appeared to brake at the same place, but his car seemed to have better braking than Ben's. As we ride on board with James here, I was thinking about Ben Lowe's issues down there into turn 1. And I think we've just all been there when you're the faster driver and you've got the red mist going and you're chasing a slower driver, in this case me, and you make a mistake and you really only have 2 options at that point, and that's, either throw things or laugh about it. I'd like to say that I laugh about it when I do that, but I should be honest. I get pretty angry about it. Now we're looking at 2nd place, Gary Rice, trying to chase me down for the lead. There goes Ben chasing him for a step up on the podium. And you could just see me in frame on the right there. If I recall correctly, at this point, the gap was hovering at about 6 seconds. So, funny story. Gary's car just passed pit in, and that made me think of practice. Whoa, it looked like somebody just went off behind me, behind us. But in practice, I got stuck on the racetrack. I wanted to come in for new tires, and I got stuck on the racetrack. I could not find the pit entrance. In this configuration of this racetrack, the pit entrance is in just the most oddball location. See if I can point it out to you. Let's go on board with Gary, and I'll pause this and show you where it is when we get there. Okay. Oh, I missed it. I'm going to rewind. rewind a little further, because I want you to see visually. Somewhere directly in front, right in here, is the pit entrance. I was completely unable to spot that from the track. See it there? Yeah, so those skid marks right there make a bunch of sense because you're doing about 125 right there, and you got about 8 feet to slow down to the pit speed. Little goofy. I almost hit the tire wall a couple of times trying to get in there. And back to racing. Stay on board with Gary for a minute. See, I'm in sight, but I don't think he's reeling me in. And let's switch to the television view while I look for close battles on track anywhere. And upon researching, it appears that everybody is pretty spread out on track right now. I think the closest fight is actually for the lead. That's me in the lead, and I think Gary chasing me might be the closest battle on track. You saw him at the bottom of your screen just now. I mentioned earlier about how, I totally planned to reel in that lap traffic and get by. And you can see that lap traffic is exactly as far ahead of me as it was 10 laps ago. I really can't understate how close all of the drivers are here. And sometimes that makes for really close racing, and sometimes people get spread out and just stay that way. Last weekend at Okayama, the racing was very close. Today at Sebring, it's a little more spread out. I have a feeling that if Steve Pruden were in the field today, this would just be an exercise in me and everybody else watching him check out. He really did put on a clinic last week. As we watch Gary Rice trying to reel in that top step on the podium.
Thanks, David.
And this is David Trender following Lanray Surumi down into the big braking zone. I believe, since these guys are in 4th and 6th place respectively, that they are on separate laps, and I'm pretty sure I heard a radio call earlier thanking for a point buy, which would make sense. But Lanry's pretty quick. Let's go on board with him, see if he reels him in. And and we're on board with David Trender. And I think David is a lap down to Landry. But you can see, even though these guys are on different laps, that lap was almost certainly the result of either the contact in turn 1, lap 1, or some other mistake on track. You know, that likely ended in a pit stop and car repairs. It does appear that Landry is slowly pulling away, but not with real authority. And let's go back up front. We should be getting close to the end of the race. The flag station is really difficult to spot here. And there it is. There's the checkered flag. So that puts me in first. Riding with Gary Rice, taking the checkered in second. Wait, that might have been the white flag. It was the white flag. We have one more lap. Oh, a little bit of a moment there. Oh, multiple moments there. That turn is apparently eating cars. And on the last lap. Wow. Talk about frustrating things happening in a race. Coming around the S's here and should see the checkered flag very shortly. And there it is. And that's Keith Morgan in first. Gary Rice coming around in second. He'll take the checkered flag in 1.5 turns here. Ben Lowe hanging on in third, not far behind. And James Legault coming around.
That was a workout. Probably shouldn't crash on the last lap, though.
Funny
You
commentary.
gave me a sliver of hope there, Gary, for a minute.
I think James was one of the.
Well, Steve wasn't here to put on a clinic today.
You're too close, too fast, Keith. There's no way I can catch you.
Yeah, that's Gary being a little
Yeah, wait
modest.
till you're running with Steve.
Yeah, nice
So
try, Keith.
Thank you. I'm getting real used to seeing that blue car someplace, or purple hood someplace real close on track.
And there goes James taking
I just wish I
fourth
could have
place.
kept it on.
Man, that was a wicked pass you put on me on the back straight, man. I was just nothing I could do.
So the radio chatter continued for a while there. So let's take a look at our results. So we had me coming in first, mainly because Steve wasn't here. Gary Rice coming in second. Ben Lowe hung on to third despite 3 offs. I'm pretty sure he would have been on the top step of the podium if it weren't for turn 1 down there. James Legault in third. Lonry Sarumi in fifth. David Trender in sixth. Sean Marks and his horribly broken steering wheel in seventh. And Rusty Pruden, it looks like after his first lap incident due to the banner appearing in front of his vision as he was coming into the brake markers for turn 1, looks like he went into observation mode for the remainder of the race. So I hope you've enjoyed the CIR PCA sim racing at Sebring. Has been a good time, and tune in next time. Thank you for watching.